And so our research shows that you can make your brain work better in 4 days if you understood a formula on how to do that.
Welcome to the new video on your favorite channel, Channel Pacific. Today we're going to explain how the laws of attraction can be used practically by anybody in life. You don't have to be a highly skilled yogi, guru, or an expert at all. You will find all the details today here on our channel. Stay tuned with us till the end so that you don't miss any part. We are going to talk about the practical approach that can be used by anybody to achieve the life of their dreams. You must have heard about the law of attraction and the people who have used it to turn their dreams into reality. It might seem overwhelming and complicated, but today we're going to explain how it's rather simple and demystify it. Just similar to the way our brain is able to understand the things in our surroundings, to the laws of nature, we understand things by the explanation of physics, chemistry, and biology. That makes sense to us, and everything starts to seem easy. In the same way, we are going to talk about what part of our brain is exactly involved in the whole processing and how we can reprogram it. You will be able to use this information to your advantage. You will be able to release the chemicals in your brain purposefully and see the change happen practically. Starting with the philosophy of things, of how they work, to initiating the process of change and attraction, and finally leading to becoming the master of your reality.
Well, look, from a practical standpoint, and I'm a pragmatist, I want to take knowledge and information, and information and learning causes us to become aware of things that we were unaware of. And consciousness is awareness. Awareness is paying attention. So people do the best with what they think is available. And if they don't know something is available, they'll never make a new choice. So my interest is to combine different realms of science: quantum physics, neuroscience, neuroendocrinology, psychoneuroimmunology, the mind-body connection, electromagnetism, epigenetics, build a model. All of these sciences point the finger at possibility. And if you give people right information and they can learn that information, when they learn that information, they make connections in their brain. That's what learning is. But the research shows that if you don't repeat that information, if you don't review it, if you don't think about it over and over again, those circuits prune apart within hours or days. So if we get a community of people together and give them that proper information, and science is the contemporary language of mysticism. It's what science is what demystifies the mystical. If you talk about religion, tradition, or culture, or spirituality, you'll somehow divide an audience. And so we build these models of understanding, and if the person can teach that model to the person next to them, if they can teach it back, if they can explain what they've learned, they're firing and wiring the circuits in their brain, and knowledge acts as a raw material for their brain to begin to fire new sequences and new patterns, new combinations. And whenever you make the brain work differently, you're changing your mind. So mind is the brain in action. So as the person reminds themselves of what they've learned, they begin to install the neurological hardware in their brain in preparation for the experience. And the more they understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, then the how becomes easier. So then once you understand why you're doing it, then you assign meaning to it and you turn on your prefrontal cortex, and now you have an intention. Now, if you can get your behaviors to match your intentions and your actions equal to your thoughts, If you can get your mind and body working together, you're going to have an experience. Now, the application, the personalization, the demonstration, the initiation of that theory, of that philosophy, when done properly, when your actions match your thoughts, you'll run into a new experience. And now the experience then enriches the circuits in your brain, and you're beginning to change even more. And the moment those networks of neurons string into place, the brain makes a chemical, and that chemical is called a feeling or an emotion. And the moment we feel success, the moment we feel abundant, the moment we feel unlimited, the moment we feel gratitude, the moment we feel love, we are teaching our body chemically to understand what our mind is intellectually understood. So knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. And in that moment, the person is embodying the truth of that philosophy. And they begin to signal new genes that begins to change their biology, because it's the environment that signals the gene. And the end product of an experience in the environment is an emotion. So what we're doing now is we're beginning to select and instruct new genes, and genes make proteins, and the body begins to change. And you begin to embody the truth of that information. You're becoming it. You're becoming that knowledge. So if you can repeat it over and over again, whatever it is that you're learning, the repetition of the experience neurochemically begins to condition the mind and body to begin to work as one. And then when you've done something so many times that the body now knows how to do it better than the conscious mind, now you've mastered that knowledge. Now it's innate in you. It's automatic. It's second nature. It's easy. You've literally become it. You're in a new state of being. So I teach people how to take knowledge or information and go from philosopher to initiate to master, from knowledge to experience to wisdom, to mind, the body, the soul, from thinking to doing to being, to learning it with your head, applying it with your hands, and knowing it bit by heart. Believing, behaving, and becoming. And we have all the biological, neurological machinery to do that. And teaching people how to change from one state of mind and body to another somehow produces measurable changes, not only in their biology, but in their life. So my interest is to demystify that process so that people have within their reach all the tools to begin to make those changes. And research shows that it absolutely is possible to change, and nothing changes in our life until we change.
Yeah, and I know you're dying.
I have so many questions, Dr. Joe. I'm such a huge fan of your work. So you talked a lot about intention, and I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper into what intention really means when you talk about intention, because I feel like people throw that word around a lot. And how do you really come up with a true intention that is going to change your way of being?
That's a great question. And we have this part of our brain called the frontal lobe. It's the crowning achievement of the human being. It's what separates us from all other species. 40% of the entire brain, and it's the brain's creative center. It's where we have attention. It's where we have intention. It's where we have free will. It's where we invent and we speculate and we think of new possibilities. It causes us to restrain our emotional reactions and have a conscience, be conscious, or observe really how we are. We can see ourselves. That's self-reflection or self-awareness. So many people wait for a crisis in their life. They wait for a disease or diagnosis or trauma to decide, oh my God, I have to really start to make some changes in my lifestyle, my behaviors, and my beliefs, or whatever. So they ask these questions to themselves, like, what would it be like to be healthy, to be in shape? What would it be like to be wealthy? What would it be like to be in a loving relationship? What would it be like to have a mystical experience? And we do this naturally. We begin to consume information that really is related to someone else who's done it or has the experience, and they're actually talking about how they created that experience. So the frontal lobe, when you ask the question, what would it be like to be healthy? It has connections to all other parts of the brain, and it's like a symphony leader, a CEO, a boss. It looks out over the landscape of the entire brain, and it starts to call up different networks of neurons that are associated with that question. And it begins to seamlessly piece them together to create a new possibility, a new idea, a new way of being. And your brain freezes a frame and creates an image or a model. And that's called intention. You are actually selecting a new potential in the quantum field. Now, here's where intention becomes amplified. The person who gets so involved in that image in their mind, that future reality that they're selecting, that they make the thought so real in their mind that the thought becomes the experience. Now, the end product of an experience is an emotion, but the emotion they're feeling is not coming from anywhere outside of them. It's actually coming from within them. And the stronger the emotion we feel, the more we pay attention to that image in our mind. And in a sense, we begin to remember our future. And we begin to brand those circuits neurologically in the brain to look like that future has already happened. So the fuel behind intention is an elevated emotion. And when we make up our mind that we want something or we want to change, if the amplitude of the energy that we make that decision with is greater than the hardwired programs in our brain and the emotions that keep us conditioned to the past, the body will respond to the mind. And the choice that we make in that moment becomes a moment in time we never forget. And that's the moment you would say, I know the moment I made up my mind to change. And so many people who do this, when they do it properly, they're giving their body a sampling, a taste of the future. And that's a huge explosion in the quantum field. That's a moment in time that's producing a change in energy. And that change in energy is something that is within us. And so the person says, I felt it. I know it's possible. Now, the key is to be able to do that every single day and be defined by that vision of the future instead of the memories of the past. And so our research shows that you can make your brain work better in 4 days if you understood a formula on how to do that. And what it does is causes the brain to get more creative and more intentional. And you can train a person actually to create elevated emotions and sustain those elevated states for an extended period of time. And the more they live in that emotional state of the future before it happens, the less they look for it, because why would they look for it if it feels like it's already happened? They're no longer separate from it. And so when you combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, you begin to produce a change in your energy, a change in your field. And that's when a person begins to see those synchronicities, those opportunities, those coincidences that begin to happen in their lives. And anybody can do it.
Let the information sink in. Allow your brain to process this new information so that you can utilize it to become the best version of yourself. You have the ability to reach new heights. You have the ability to achieve success in your life. Start with a small change. Remember to understand what it is that you are changing and why it is that you want to change it. Then only the process of using the law of attraction as how you can change it will become natural to you. Allow the feelings to flow in. Allow the signals to create new genetic information. Let the change happen with you. The more you wire and fire your neurological connections, the more you will become the master of your life. Keep working to strengthen the connections of your mind, your body and soul. Become mindful of your surroundings. Remember to bring the change into your life. All the biological and neurological machinery is already available to you. You just have to believe in being able to utilize it to your full potential. Set the right intention and let it amplify to become your reality. Stay consistent with these actions and see the magic unfold Finally, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any notifications from our channel or the latest updates about the law of attraction. Like this video and share it with friends to help them understand too the law of attraction in a better way. We will see you in the next video. Till then, keep working towards your goals. Keep attracting the positive vibes.